For the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Glad you joined us. And a programming note, will be over in Jackson next week. And we've got an exciting show coming up, and we'll hear from 3 different members of the Southeast Missouri State Athletics Department. The volleyball coach, Julie Yankus, is here. 3 championships in the last 3 years, regular season, couple of tournament titles, almost won the tournament championship again this year. The athletics director, Brady Barkey, is here, and Coach Tom Matukowicz will stop by a little bit later on in the show as we recap the Red Hawks championship run that ended on Saturday night out in Missoula, Montana. I want to remind you that the award-winning Jumbo Wings are popular for both dine-in and carry-out here at Wings Etc. and through DoorDash. You can get them delivered as well. They have a full menu that features many things other than their award-winning wings, including their brand-new, freshly made burger menu. They have wraps here at Wings Etc., subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs. Their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle chips. And if you're coming for lunch, their lunch specials start at just $9.49, and you'll see all of the sports on their high-definition flat screens here at Wings Etc. The Blues are in action tonight at home against the first-place team in the Central Division, the Dallas Stars. You can watch Blues hockey right here. Monday Night Football game tonight as well. It is good food, great times, home of the Coaches Show, Wings Etc. Let's talk some Red Hawks volleyball. Julie Yankus is here. Coach, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing terrifically. It's a little warm, not a lot, but a little warmer here than it was in Missoula, Montana. And your season has come to an end. You guys put together one heck of a run in the OVC tournament, and I thought it was interesting. You finished tied, I believe, for 3rd place. Is that correct, during the regular season? And you drew Eastern Illinois in the first round, the only squad that came to Cape Girardeau and beat you 6 consecutive sets. You were 0-6 in terms of sets against Eastern Illinois. That didn't make a difference when you hit the tournament. You end up beating them in a 5-set thriller, which kind of goes to show you that what happens in the regular season is regular season. Tournament stuff, totally different animal, right?
Absolutely. We talked about that. It was 2 months between our matchup with Eastern Illinois in the regular season and then facing them in the quarterfinals. And we understood we were a different team. We have changed and grown and got better. And everyone goes in the tournament 0-0. So, the unique thing with OVC volleyball this year, really 1 through 7, it was anybody's tournament. We were all so close, and it showed, obviously, with the way we had a lot of upsets and a fun, exciting tournament this last week.
When you went back to the video in your 2 matches against Eastern Illinois, did it concern you? Man, maybe this team really matches up well with us. We may be the better team. Maybe they match up better. What did you see when you went back and watched video of Eastern Illinois? Not only in your match, but in other matches, which is one of the things that has progressed here as we get more technology. You're able to watch every play of every game now.
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time watching video. So, the biggest thing was, their record maybe didn't reflect it, but from what we matched up with them, it actually usually did not look well for us. They have really good outside hitters. They were in system a lot, and they run things really fast. And so we tried to adjust all week when we looked to face to them in the regular season, and we just could not keep up with the speed of the game. They just run their offense really quickly, and we had to learn to adjust throughout the season to teams that do that, and we were ready and prepared for it come tournament time.
You played 3 5-set thrillers in the OVC tournament. As you're going to a 5th set with Eastern Illinois, because they had some momentum going in to the 5th set. What do you as a coach tell your team as you're going into a 5th set? Because it's a 15-point set versus the first 4, which are 25-point sets. What do you say to your team in a situation like that?
Yeah, I try to keep us as calm and not get too emotional in that fifth set because you don't want to get that to affect your performance. So really just try to keep the message the same, we knowing what we need to do, focus on being the first team to 5, the first team to 10, and finish out from there. But we just try to keep our emotions kind of in check. And, kind of made the joke throughout the tournament that we just love playing volleyball, so we want to play as much as we can, which is what we definitely did last week.
And you beat Eastern Illinois. Then you get the defending champs, or the regular season champs, on their court, UT Martin, and again, you go to a fifth set with the Skyhawks. How about that match?
Yeah, that was a great matchup. We felt if we could get through Eastern Illinois, we had a good chance of making a good run at the tournament championship because with Martin, a team we matched up a little bit better with, we beat them in 3 on their home court earlier in the season, so we had some confidence there. And, they had a great season, of course, and put together that regular season title, so we knew it'd be tough. But I think, again, we just got a great start in that fifth set and felt momentum really was in our way. And once we took control of that, we could kind of just run away with it. And it was a really fun win for us.
Boy, and that sets up the OVC championship match with Tennessee State, a team that has not been heard of in the OVC tournament since, I believe, 2007 was the only time they'd ever made the tournament championship, and they happened to win it that particular year. You had a 2-1 lead. They win the 4th set. Then you're going to a 5th set, and you got off to a good start in the 5th set.
We did. We definitely got off to a good start at the switch. At 8 points, we switched sides. We were up 8-6. So felt a little bit, in control of it. And if at that point we can just side out volleyball, we win the match. Unfortunately, in volleyball too, you get stuck in a rotation, which is what happened with us, and we couldn't get out of it. And you can't force a rotate. You have to. You're stuck where you're kind of stuck, and you can sub out players, but you can't make any other adjustments. So that's unfortunately what happened with us, and we just could not find a way to rotate and get maybe a different hitter in the front row that could put the ball away for us.
Tennessee State, a team that had, what would you say her name was? Their star player, went over 1,000 kills.
Well, that was our player, Zoe Beasley, yes.
Okay,
Zoe Beasley,
I'm talking about the girl for Tennessee State who had the reddish hair, and she was just really –
yes.
Obviously Zoe
yes.
had a great season, but it seemed like she really stepped up in the tournament.
Kennedy Davis is the middle
That's
you're referring to.
Yeah.
She is actually a transfer from another institution, and she had a great season and did a really good job kind of shutting down our middles there. And they have a really good outside hitter at Tennessee State who's a Power 5 player who came and transferred for 1 year to play at Tennessee State. So, and then they have a really great libero. So luckily a couple of those kids are graduating, so that's good for us looking into the future. But they had definitely a really good squad, and kudos to them for, they were a preseason pick 10th in the league, and they wind up winning the conference tournament. So I think they had something to prove, and it was good for them, of course.
And something else, you had mentioned that you had played Eastern Illinois a while back. Well, your first conference matches were against Tennessee State, and you handled them, but clearly both teams changed over the course of the season, and Tennessee State was not the same team that you saw opening weekend of conference play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they improved as well, and it was great that we beat them 2 times on our home court, but it's really hard to beat a team 3 times, and that goes to show just kind of happened with us in Eastern Illinois. Tough for them to beat us 3 times, and it was tough for us to try to pull out that third win against Tennessee State in 1 season.
And you mentioned that they had a couple of transfers. We know how the transfer portal has affected college football. We've seen how it affects college basketball. How has it affected college volleyball?
It's interesting. Today's actually the first day with the change in the transfer rules. We get a 45-day period to essentially look at transfers, and today's the first day of ours. And there has been, every time we're hitting refresh, 10 new players are going on it. So it's very interesting, kind of the thought process of the portal. It's actually helped us a lot. We've got a lot of great transfers that have come in. And not a lot of people have left our program. And that just goes to think, again, that what we're trying to build as a staff and the community and the support we get, and there's just lots of reasons that the players here want to stay. And then when we do have transfers come in, that they do realize the special, kind of unique situation we have here at SEMO.
Well, I think that most coaches view the transfer portal differently. Some are not as embracing of the transfer portal. Some believe, well, there's a reason that players transfer. We really want to make sure we do all our investigatory work in terms of character. What is your position on the transfer portal?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do all of our homework when there's somebody in there that we're looking at to consider bringing them in, because if you bring in somebody that, if they're transferring multiple times, that's a lot of red flags pop up. Why do they keep leaving? How can they not, be satisfied where they are? And so we absolutely talk to their, former coaches, current coaches, any other connections we have, even from their club and high school volleyball days, if we can. So we will continue to look at it, because it is nice to bring in some experienced players that maybe couldn't get the experience, or they didn't get the playing time they wanted at a bigger school, but they could come and do a really good job in the OVC. So we'll continue to look at those transfers, but I think it's unique kind of how the rules are going to continue to change back and forth from year to year.
There are a lot of programs, depending on the sport that you're talking about, that have an assistant coach who is their focus, and they've got other focuses, but one of their main things is to keep an eye on the transfer portal, stay updated on that. Is that your system?
Yes, absolutely. And then, when we see someone interesting, we're going to reach out, and then I'm going to start looking at, okay, who is this person? Let's find video. As we talked about earlier, we have video on any and everything, so we can see as much as we can and see if they're going to help our program.
Who is leaving the program just because they're graduated or they have exhausted their eligibility at Southeast? How many players are you going to lose, core players?
Luckily, we're only graduating one player, Colby Green. She was a graduate student this year, and will finish that program this spring semester. So Colby will be missed. She's been a great asset to the program. She played here for 5 years, but everyone else is back. So we're really excited about that. That we're having players with their COVID years that are going to be using those, and hopefully fighting for another championship in the future. And
that includes the Defensive Player of the Year in the OVC, Tara Bilesmith. Talk about the season that she has put together.
Yeah, she's a remarkable player. I think anybody that watches the team play, she sticks out for sure. She extends plays. She's helped us win games that we shouldn't have probably won or even been in, because she just does not let the ball hit the floor. She's a great leader on the court. She's somebody that the players always rally around, and she helps bring them up with her. She expects a lot of herself and of her teammates, and she's had an amazing season. I think 772 digs she finished with. She's first in the nation in digs right now, in total digs, and so with the NCAA tournament going on, somebody may get up there.
Those stats count toward
yes,
they
will count towards
stats.
The totals. Yes, obviously her digs per set will stay set as far as what she had, and at that point she's been ranging from second and third in digs per set too. So, but yeah, she's had a remarkable season, and we're just really excited that she's coming back for a 5th year. She's in the championship match. She's now surpassed the SEMO career digs record, so she's got that, and she's got a whole nother season to play. So I think she's going to make that a pretty untouchable record when she's done.
Oh, heck yes. And Zoe Beasley is back, and she was all-conference in the OVC. Is she the best redheaded player that you've ever coached?
We have another redhead on the team, so I guess I shouldn't say that. Or it's a debatable if she's a redhead. They debate that. But yes, she is. She's a remarkable player. She is just such a force. She's very determined, a great athlete, and she just wants to be better. She just wants it so bad. And so seeing her reach 1,000 kills in basically 2.5 seasons is something I've never seen. It's usually a senior 4th year. At some point you're trying to reach that goal, and so really proud that she could do that this year already. And again, I think she's going to be somebody that's going to eventually be fighting for those career kills, as she has a whole other season left as well.
How strange is it now about all the years of eligibility that these athletes get because of the COVID season? I was telling you, the starting quarterback for Montana Saturday was a 7th year senior. I mean, we've never heard of anything like that.
Right.
Now, you don't have any seventh-year seniors, but it's got to be very different, and it has to affect your recruiting because of these players who have all of these years of eligibility.
Right. That's been the challenge of, who's coming back and then people thinking they want to come back and an injury happens or just life changes and they don't. So it's hard to plan the recruiting piece and when are they going to come back or not. If they're quality players, luckily our senior class coming up, they have all been starters and contributors. So we're really happy they're going to all take their fifth year together and hopefully again end their season or end their careers with another championship. But it's very unique because it's the dynamics of a 17-year-old kid, and if they're a seventh year, I mean they're 24 years old. I mean that's a very big difference in maturity and just interests and just their life experiences. So we have not had anybody quite that old, but it is interesting the older, the super seniors and kind of their relationships and how that develops with the incoming.
Is that
freshmen.
what you term them, super seniors?
Yeah, we call them super seniors a lot.
All right. How much has it affected your recruiting, the transfer portal? Hitting that again because of the impact that it can have potentially. You're bringing in somebody with Division I experience all under their belt. How much has it changed your philosophy on, are we going to bring in a freshman who has never played a match at Division I versus maybe somebody who has already played 3 seasons or 2 seasons at Division I? Has it changed your recruiting focus at all or your philosophy?
I mean, for the most part, we're still looking at high school, bringing in true freshmen when we can, and you plan for that early enough. And I think the transfer comes into more of a role when you have other people that happen to leave. So if we have someone leave, now we're going to hit that transfer portal because a true senior in high school probably there's a reason they're probably not committed to another Division I institution yet. And so that part kind of changes. It goes hand in hand a little bit. Or if we've had an injury or somebody decide to leave when we thought they were going to stay and take their COVID year. So you kind of have some different scenarios where this is really just some of the later recruiting. But for the most part, we're looking at those high school sophomores and juniors. We want to develop them and keep them here for 4 years if we can. But as of right now, we still have a spot available, and we'll be hitting the portal hard, trying to find a quality middle hitter to come in and help our program.
I know it cycles differently for different years, and everybody is always focused on, the local talent in Southeast Missouri. Is SEMO looking at this particular player? Is this an up cycle this year or last year and this year for area volleyball, or is it maybe kind of an average year? What have you seen in your recruiting travels?
Yeah, there's a lot of great local talent, and it's been great to see the development of the sport and the interest over the 12 years I've been here of how much it's grown. So we are absolutely heavily recruiting some 2024 and 2025 local talent, and hopefully they'll decide that they want to stay home and help us and compete in front of their hometown. So it's been great to have that talent. It's been a long time coming to kind of get those athletes that in volleyball there's just a certain size and a certain vertical that we're going to need you to reach, and so we've had great talent in the area. But we need those players that are going to be over 6 feet and be able to terminate for us, and so those players have now been coming to light here in the local area, which has been great to see.
How tough is it? I know in some of the other sports, let's just say baseball, can they handle the fastball at the Division I level? Oh, he was a great hitter in junior college or a great hitter in high school. How do you tell with a high school player if they're going to translate to the D1 level where you are?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's obviously somewhat of a gamble. You have to, evaluate their talent, but a lot of them, if they're playing the higher level club volleyball, you can see them competing with and against other players that are going to play at this level. And so you can see, okay, she can stop her, she can hit around her, she can pass that player's serve. And so luckily when you kind of see them play and compete against each other, and that's more, again, the club level than high school. There's just, more talent that goes in certain areas. Then you can see how they can compete and match up. And a lot of times you got to hopefully account for the fact that maybe freshman year they're going to be just getting it figured out, and then by sophomore, junior year here at SEMO, they're really putting it all together because the pace of the game changes quite a bit from the high school level to college.
So it seems to me like you're saying we can look at somebody, hey, we really like them on the high school level, but to really evaluate them, I want to see them play club volleyball.
Absolutely, yes. That, and I mean, we of course have camps in the summer where we can see them compete with each other and with our players, and we can see, if they can dig Zoe Beasley, they're probably a pretty good libero, right? And so you see that in those comparisons, and that's a really good way for us to evaluate how will their talent transfer to our level.
You guys are so tuned in. You've got your finger on the pulse of every other team that you compete with in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
What does the conference look like next year? Some of the teams that finish in the upper echelon, are they losing players? Like it sounds like Tennessee State might be losing a couple of players that were just one-year players. How does it look at the top of the OVC? Because it sounds like you've got almost everybody coming back.
Yeah. I mean, that is the good thing. We have everyone back but one player, and we're bringing in some talented players as well. There's going to be a lot of changes. UT Martin, who won it, their top two performers, they're all OVC performers, will be now graduating. Tennessee Tech, same thing, their best middle hitter, they took second, they're going to be graduating. So I think it's going to be a brand new year, and it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of play out. And I think we can absolutely be competitive again. We've been in 3 tournament championships in the last 4 years, and again, only losing one player from this year is obviously a huge testament that we're still going to have that talent come back.
And I think only one time out of your 12 seasons did you not make the tournament. I mean, you guys are a staple in that tournament.
Yeah, and it's been great to just see the runs we've been able to make at the tournament, and not just get there, but being competitive, winning matches, getting to the finals. It's been a great couple-year run here, and we just want to keep it going.
All right, your thoughts on Tennessee State moving on? I know at the Ohio Valley Conference level, oftentimes you draw a pretty good opponent, as you did last year. What do you think Tennessee State's chances are of winning one for the OVC?
I mean, that would be remarkable. It'd be amazing. It's, unfortunately, the level of some of those top 16 schools, they're going to have to play, again, a host school and playing Ohio State. And so the first round, unfortunately, all the host schools generally don't even lose a set because of just the level is just different of, they've got 6'4" attackers that are touching 11'6", and we've got great players that can touch 10 feet, but there's a big difference in that the height that they can, attack from. So I think Tennessee State can make a great run. They have a really great libero who I think is going to really frustrate the opponent's attackers, and they do have a P5 level outside hitter, so if they can keep her in the front row as much as they can and score points with her, I think they can compete.
All right, so they're playing Ohio State. When do they play them?
That is a great question.
Okay,
I don't know if it's Thursday or Friday. It's this
okay.
weekend. Yeah, I don't know the exact time, but everything starts Thursday essentially for the women's NCAA tournament.
Does it seem like you've been here 12 years?
No, it does not. It's gone by very fast. Sometimes the days are long and the frustrating weeks are here and there, but you look back and I cannot believe it's been this long.
Julie Yankis, the Red Hawks volleyball coach, great success, and it sounds like you're going to be in that preseason poll. You're going to be picked awfully high next year. In other words, it would be an upset if the Red Hawks aren't picked in the top 3 next year. Would you agree?
I would agree, yes. We'll probably be picked towards the top.
Coach, thanks so much. I know we got you on short notice, but we appreciate you squeezing us in. Thank you so much, and congratulations on another great season.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Coach Julie Yankis. The athletics director is here, Brady Barkey. He was out in Missoula, Montana. We'll have a chance to chat it over with the AD when we come back. The Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. Wings, etc. In Cape Girardeau, did you know that there are over 70 items on the Wings, etc. menu that are not wings? And that includes their brand new burger lineup, their new mushroom and Swiss diner burger is a part of that. And now it is terrific. You can get wings. Now, I don't know why you wouldn't want to be here, especially with all of the flat screens and all of the camaraderie. We've got Blues hockey tonight. You want to watch the Blues and the Dallas Stars. Monday Night Football as well. The SEMO men's basketball game. They will have that on the flat screens here. The Redhawks play at Milwaukee tonight against the team that is the host squad for the Cream City Classic, the Milwaukee Panthers. But if you'd like to get wings, etc., delivered to wherever you are, you can do that now through the DoorDash app. You just download the free DoorDash app on your smartphone, and you can have it delivered within minutes. In fact, just take you a couple of minutes to set up your account, and you can order right through the DoorDash app. It is Wings, etc. Good food, great times, and home of the Redhawks Coaches Show. Southeast Director of Athletics, Brady Barkey, is here. Have you thawed out from Missoula? It wasn't as cold as I expected it to be, Brady.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't too bad. I thought the weather actually was pretty good for that time of year and there. So, yeah, no, I've certainly thawed out, but I still probably need to sit out a couple of meals after eating with the football team on the road for a few days. Boy,
traveling with athletes that have, I mean, they're like ferrets. If you ate with the team the entire time, there is no way you could keep your weight under control. I mean, they are constantly eating. I'm not just talking about football, basketball, baseball. I mean, the metabolism of a ferret for these young guys. We used to have that kind of metabolism.
Yeah, used to. It's catching up with me a little bit, but yeah, they burn a lot of calories, so it takes a lot, much more than people probably realize.
So you were out in Missoula, and boy, the Redhawks got up to a fabulous start, and then the crowd got into it, a big kick return for a touchdown that kind of swung the momentum, and that was a loud stadium, louder than I thought it was going to be. I saw the official attendance, 12,000. So the people that were saying, hey, it's the last weekend of big game hunting season in Montana, and so we don't expect to sell out, they were right.
Yeah, they had a really good crowd that really understands the game, was really into it. Something we've seen at times here. We probably need to see it a lot more, to be honest, but a really good environment to be able to play in. And at the end of the day, momentum probably made the difference there. I know if that game's in Cape Girardeau, it's probably a different outcome.
I totally agree. Absolutely agree. And for those who say, why didn't SEMO get a home game? Well, you tried very hard, and you put in a good bid, and you know about bidding for playoff games because you've hosted 2 of them.
Yeah, we've been successful hosting games in the past, and I think when you go up against somebody like Montana in terms of a financial guarantee, at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter. They're probably going to outbid you. But, the fact of the matter is if that opponent wasn't Montana and it was somebody else, the bid matters. And it matters what you can, what you can count on for fan attendance. And, we're going through stadium renovation, which is awesome, and it's something that's long overdue. But, the reality is, even as we work to put the bid together, based on our past precedent of these last few years, even with a half-capacity stadium, we still can't plan on that thing being sold out, which is disappointing from my standpoint because I think our coaches and our staff, our student-athletes certainly deserve that. But, man, I'd love to see people rally around SEMO Athletics the way that people do out in the Big Sky or to be honest, a lot of these places. We want to talk about elite programs and elite athletic departments. Those people have it, and that's something we want to get to. We just have to figure out whether or not the community and people around it want us to get there too.
So it seemed on the surface that this coin flip in the Ohio Valley Conference to see who got the automatic bid, clearly SEMO was going no matter what when they got that 9th victory and steamrolled Murray State to win a share of the OVC championship. On the surface, it seemed like, coin flip, okay, it'd be great for the OVC if, UT Martin won the coin flip because then the conference would get 2 in. But do you think had UT Martin won the coin flip, you would have hosted UT Martin?
I think it definitely could have been an outcome. It's hard to say what the committee would have done and probably some other scenarios because it starts to shift the teams in the field and the matchups a little bit. But I think there were a lot of people that thought that maybe that's what should happen is that if the OVC gets 2 in by way of the coin flip, that the two should have played each other. And it would have been a regional matchup and wouldn't have required flying. And so, that could have been the possibility. And of course, we've shown in the past that we're aggressive with our bidding and the ability to be able to host. And so, I think that could have been the outcome had that coin flip gone the other way. But, it wasn't. And, we still had an opportunity to go out to Big Sky and face an opponent that was earlier in the year, I think, as high as number 2. And to be honest, we should have beat them. And, I think that's the difference. When we went out to, Weber several years ago, I think at that point we were excited to be out there, and it was just a really good experience. This was much different. And that's a testament to Coach Tuke and his staff and what they've done and what they've built. But the expectation was a whole lot different. And so that makes this one sting a lot more because that you had the opportunity to be able to go out there and win and compete with anybody. The question is, where do we go from here? And how do we get to that point? Because this was a special group that we had this year, and you got the opportunity to have a lot of those pieces back, but how do you keep building it? And I think those are the questions that Coach Tuke and I are going to continue to wrestle with and figure out how do we continue to invest in this thing and where's it going to come from? Because you saw it. It takes resources. If you want to be elite, it takes resources. And at some point, somebody besides just the university is going to have to step up and want it too. And, if you can't get excited about what's going on here now, I don't know if you ever do. You were talking about, Tennessee State winning the volleyball championship, Eric. We have won in the last 3.5 years, we've won 20 conference championships in all of our sports.
It's impressive.
Tennessee State's volleyball championship was the first championship they've won since 2016 in any sport. Any sport. And that's not to put them down.
2016
right?
was at the Larry Joe Inman women's basketball
That
team?
was 15. They won in 16. They won a track championship in 16. But that's not putting anybody down. It's just saying what we have done here is nothing short of remarkable. And so where do we go? I think that's the question. And we've talked about how college landscape, athletics is changing. We've got to be prepared to move forward with it. And I think that's the big thing right now is, how are we going to do it? And the facility project is a big piece. We talk about it and we talk about the resources we still need to be able to get the Hauk project done. But there's a lot more to college athletics this day, and the arms race is getting harder and harder. And so, as much as you want to be excited about everything that's going on, there's still certainly some frustration in terms of where do we go next. And, and so I think that's important. And, we need to continue to try to move it forward. But it's amazing what we've been able to accomplish.
So you are taking ticket deposits for the next football season, and you still believe that South Grandstand, the beautiful new project, the first phase at Hauk, which is paid for, it's a done deal. You still believe it's going to be ready by kickoff of 2023, and how do people get involved? Not only getting a seat at Hauk, how does the pecking order go, and how do they help with the next phases, which is really going to make this place special?
Yeah, so construction's going well. Everything I think is still on schedule and progressing the way it should. And now that the seasons are over, they'll really kind of take over that space and be prepared to do construction through the whole thing because, remember, turf is going to be replaced and goalposts replaced and and in addition to the construction. And so that's all going well. If people want to get their tickets, they can put a deposit down. Basically, they're not going in and selecting their seats at that time. They're just telling us they'd like to be on the list for tickets. So that way, when we're ready to go through our reseating process, which we'll prioritize based upon, current season ticket holders, longevity of giving, history of giving. And so that way, if people want tickets, if they want to be in line, we know we can add them to the list. And as we work down the priority, we'll reach out to them and be able to say, okay, what kind of seats would you like? Here's what we have available, and give them an opportunity to get those before they would just go on sale to, the general public after that. And so, that's important. We need it, obviously, because we need people in the stands, but we also just need it to be able to, financially be able to continue to do what we do. And so that's a big part of it. We need people to rally around it, and what's going on in Cape Girardeau is special. As it relates to the stadium itself and the next phases, we're ready to be able to start having some conversations now that we, I think, have a much clearer picture of what the next phases of the project are going to be, and starting to try to get some sense of what the costs are going to be, and where maybe some of those dollars are going to come from. But certainly, if there are people that are interested, don't hesitate. We would love to talk with you, explain more about what we're trying to do, and be able to get people on board, because you can still love FCS football. It doesn't have to be FBS or SEC football for it to be special. Southeast Missouri's won more football games in the last 5 years than any other Division I school in the state. And so, we still need people to rally around it and be excited about it, and look at this point, 20 years from now and realize that this is the point that we decided we were going to be something different than what we've been in the past. And, hopefully people will come along with us.
So for some of the higher rollers, is it called the Red Hawks Club, the new the club level that you're going to have in the South Grandstands? How do people get involved with that? What are the perks of getting involved with that? And until you move on to another phase, the end zone situation is going to remain as it is, right?
Yeah, the plan is for the end zone to stay the way that it is as we complete this first phase. Obviously, as we look to, probably put something in that end zone in terms of a building structure, that will probably change, but we still want to be able to try to find a way to accommodate a similar experience on that end as what we had in the past. The club level in the press box, as that gets completed, hopefully here in the next phase, that will be another unique premium opportunity for people to be able to, participate in. What it's called is still to be determined, because hopefully we'll put somebody's name on that too. And so I think there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved and to be able to support it, and everything from our operations areas to seating areas, premium areas. There's going to be something there for everybody, and we'll need everybody because it's a massive, massive undertaking, but it's something that we've got to do if we're serious about moving forward.
So at Montana, you and I talked at halftime of the radio broadcast, and you said a lot of, the place emptied out at halftime. We're like, what's going on? And you said, well, they're all outside, having a frosty cold one because they're not allowed in the stadium. They don't have alcohol sales in the stadium. Is that going to be something that is offered in this new version of Houck Field in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, that's our plan. Of course, we offered it, this year, and we have in general seating areas, not just, allowing people to bring things in the east side, but we've allowed it to be sold in the regular areas, and then we also have the all-inclusive field goal club on the west side. And so, our plan is to continue to provide that opportunity. Of course, we have to make sure it's all done responsibly, but thus far, I think it's gone really well. And again, it's something that people, want to be able to have an opportunity to, partake in if they're there and if that's something that they enjoy. And it doesn't mean they have to leave the stadium and then come back in later. And so, that's something that we'll plan to be able to continue.
All right. It has been such a fun football season, and now we're on to basketball. You know, a little bit more. Our focus will be more on basketball because there is no more football. Big game for the Brad Korn's Red Hawks. Chance to go to 6-2 tonight as they play the Milwaukee Panthers, who are 2-0 in the tournament. Red Hawks 1-1 after a 2-point loss yesterday. But a winnable basketball game tonight, and I know Coach Korn would be fired up to be leaving Milwaukee with a 2-1 record and a win over the home team.
Yeah, for sure, and you know he's done a really good job with them. They're off to a great start. You know, fortunately they've had the opportunity to play a lot of you know, winnable games, maybe games that still on, you know, paper or the odds makers haven't said that they're favored to win, but games where you feel like you've got a chance to go out and compete and be able to win. And so he's done a really good job early on getting a lot of new faces all to mesh together and battled through some injury bugs and some other things. And you know, so it'll be exciting as they, you know, finish out the calendar year and turn their attention to OVC play to be able to see exactly how we stack up with this league, because it's you know, it's new to a lot of us. There's a lot of new faces in this league, and so you don't necessarily know what you got until you get into it.
All right, we'll have Brad Korn with us next week on the Coaches Show as we go forward with basketball. Brady, thanks so much for taking some time to join us today, and we appreciate you're a regular participant here at the Coaches Show, and everybody appreciates that.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
All right, that is the Athletics Director, Brady Barkey. Coach Took is here, the OVC Coach of the Year. He'll talk with us when we return. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Our final chance to talk Red Hawks football, and we do it with the Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz. And, you know, your travel coordinator, Coach Blackman, what a job he did. I mean, you're talking about, first of all, a charter flight right out of Cape Girardeau Regional Airport, straight into Missoula. You've got to coordinate the buses. You've got to coordinate the meals. There are always chances for hiccups and glitches. And, man, I can't imagine that a trip could go any smoother than our trip to Missoula and back to Cape Girardeau.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is a challenge. It's a challenge just, you know, a normal road trip, but to do it in 7-day advance is almost impossible. 6 days, right? And so he did a great job, and want to shout out to Nate and Kent. You know, they went on Thanksgiving the day ahead, gave up their Thanksgiving to do some stuff for before the team even arrived. So, you know, people don't understand just how big and large things like that is, and how many people it takes, and I want to make sure they know how thankful we are, and certainly Coach Blackman also.
Boy, and you've got to get a hotel. Not every hotel is equipped to handle a football team. That's why, you know, trips to Jacksonville, Alabama, Hampton Inn is right there. Well, the Hampton Inn is not equipped to handle a football team. It's a different animal. Yeah. It's a different type of hotel, and we stayed at a Holiday Inn, and, man, it was terrific.
It was. Now, they got us on the food. Now, we almost had to get a loan to get it done. So, I mean, it just is what it is.
And as far as the game itself went, man, you got off to such a great start for a second straight game. A defensive touchdown. Lawrence Johnson returns the fumble. You get off to the same start with Murray State with William McCall's pick six. So the crowd was immediately, I'm not going to say muted, but they were toned down a lot from early on in that football game.
No, I mean, you hit it on the head. We started well. Crowd wasn't a factor. I knew going in that they were better than us in special teams, and we just hoped to break even, and certainly that wasn't the case. And those 3 or 4 plays just really ended up costing the game. The second half, all the momentum went to their side, man. It ignited their sideline. And, to me, it just more apparent why you can't lose to an EKU. You got to be able to play those games at home. And if we beat EKU, we're a seed, and that might be a different game. So there's lessons involved. It was my toughest loss as a head coach, and the reason it's tough because it means something. Like if it doesn't mean anything, losing a game doesn't mean lose. I mean, if you lose a meaningless game, it's nothing. But this meant a lot. It was a chance for this team to cement their legacy with 10 wins. It was the first time our program has been on national television, but just like all first times, there's a learning curve, and you got to move on, but certainly get all the lessons that was taught. One thing I appreciate about being a head football coach here is winning and losing has to die. Like if you winning and losing means life and death, I'd have been dead a long time ago. And so, I handle losses and wins well because I've had to. And even though this is probably the toughest loss I've taken, there's a lot of blessings. And what a fool I would be to let one game run a season and walk around here like someone killed my dog or something. At the end of the day, I'm very blessed and fortunate to have the role of head football coach, have meaningful work with my players. I got so many text messages and phone calls from supporters and community members and everybody. And, we'll learn our lessons and we'll move on. And but also we're gonna have a banquet December 9th that will open up to the public and give them an opportunity. It's going to be at the Osage Center, so you should be looking for details to come out tomorrow. But
Okay.
We will honor the seniors. We will honor the great year that we've had. And I don't always do this, but just felt like all the families, this is an opportunity for you. We have one more moment, right? 2022 team has got basically one more moment together, and that'll be December 9th. And then it's all about 2023. But this will give our parents a time, to see everybody, but also fans, anybody in the community will give you a chance also to come to that also.
I thought it was interesting what you said in the post-game interview that we did in Missoula. One of the things you said, and it hasn't been said a lot in the past, but with the transfer portal, with the way college athletics is now, you said the first thing I'm going to do when we get back to Cape Girardeau is re-recruit our roster. I'm going to re-recruit my players. That's a big thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And we got some quality players that could go to the NFL or they could transfer and go to an SEC school. So at the end of the day, we're not going to – if that's what their dream is and they want to do that, great. If not, we got a great opportunity to play a season with a new sided stadium, and we got a great schedule and got a lot of great things going on here too. So that's what all my assistants are doing. So by tonight, we'll have met with every coach or every player, and then I got a team meeting tonight, and then I'll meet with all the coaches too, because ultimately some of them may leave too and have in the past. And so that's just really the beginning of putting a team together, is who's on the bus, and you got an opportunity to get off the bus or get on the bus, and we just got to know where everybody's at.
December 21st is signing day. How are things looking for this recruiting class? Because I know with this last recruiting class, which included Ryan Flournoy, you made the statement, we're getting in on guys now that we didn't used to be able to get in on. That's the type of athletes that are on our radar now, and we are on their radar.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think we can recruit at a higher level than we ever have. Interest has been high. We gotten lots of commitments. We just got to finish. We got to finish. The next 3 weekends will be official visits, and they'll be huge. And the thing that's changed, though, is like when I recruited Geno Hess, you know who we beat? Nobody. If SEMO offers you now, you're going to have 5 or 6 offers by the following week. Like, that's what's changed. Like, every recruit we recruit now is going to be a battle between somebody else that wants them bad. And so we just got to finish on some really exciting type players.
I know how 18 and 19-year-old guys are, and facilities are a big, big thing for younger players. How much is that a factor, and you're showing them, hey, this is the stadium you are going to play in? We may go over to Houck Stadium this weekend, and you look around the stadium. Well, this is what it's going to look like when we kick it off next year.
I think it is important. I think at the end of the day, if they love football, they want to see a commitment to football. And facilities is one of the best ways to instantly see that, right? But I don't want somebody to come here for a stadium. At the end of the day, what makes a SEMO football recruit isn't that, and so our fit, what I believe in, is what we got to look for. And so I just got to make sure our assistants understand what we're looking for, and, we don't make a mistake and recruit the wrong type kid.
How about Paxton DeLaurent, Coach? We didn't know if he was going to be able to play. It looked like they really changed things up in the second half. It was blitz after blitz after blitz in the second half. He got knocked down a lot. He was limping, and it wasn't on his left foot. He was limping on his right leg. I mean, he took a shot. I still don't know why the play that got blown dead, and then he gets smashed to the ground, and one of your linemen retaliates, protecting his quarterback, why that wasn't a penalty on Montana for hitting DeLaurent. But he got banged up, and he answered the bell for every snap of that football game.
No, he loved how tough and the way he played, and it was tough. Certainly in the fourth quarter it was a factor, and probably wouldn't be able to play this week. So he left it all out there, and at the end of the day, you're so excited about him just being a sophomore, right? People forget. You sit there and go, man, this guy's whatever. Well, he's just a sophomore, and there's a lot of things that he can improve on and will as the offseason starts.
All right. You look at the way that things had gone against the Big Sky in the past. You went to Weber State in 2018, did not compete on the line of scrimmage. You went to Bozeman in 2019 against the Montana State Bobcats, did not compete on the line of scrimmage. You said those games gave you a blueprint for what you needed to do on the line of scrimmage. How do you think you competed this year on the line of scrimmage with the Big Sky?
Yeah, we belonged. We won more than we lost, so that was really exciting. Obviously the penalties and the special teams, and there was things in there that was more just about how we played than anything else. So we have a football team just as good as Montana, and if that game was at Houck, it may look different, and that's just the way it is. They've been good at football for 50 years, and we haven't, and we got to catch them. Like, that's the bottom line, but we're making progress.
All right. The speech that you had to your team after the football game, I know there are some things maybe you don't want to say, but, what was your message to them? Because I'm sure you were grateful to especially all of the players who have been here for a while to help put this program on the map.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing I was going to say was going to help them feel better. Nothing anybody's going to say to me is going to make me feel any better. Like, it just is a tough loss because it meant a lot. But at the end of the day, we can't let that define our season. And as grown-ups, we need to be more mature than that. That's why I want to do the banquet. I want to have one more time all together and to celebrate things on a good note and make sure that they understand just how appreciative we are of their time here in Cape.
You and I were both young once, and at that age, you can't convince them of maybe the following. One of these days, one of these years, you're going to get together. There'll be a reunion. One of these days, you're going to look back, and those guys will always be connected. Yes. They will always be a brotherhood. You may not be able to convince them of that now, but it will happen, won't it?
No, for sure, and hopefully I'm there talking about it and reminiscing, you know, and it was a lifetime experience. It really was, you know, to go to Missoula, experience FCS football at its best, and to compete and was there. You know, at the end of the day, we didn't play well enough to win, but you couldn't say, well, they're just better than us. You know, they played better than us, but you know, we'll take those life lessons and try to get better at it and move on.
You know, Brady said something. We talked to him in Missoula at halftime of the football game, and one thing he said, because we were talking about, hey, the winner goes to Fargo, goes to the Dome to play North Dakota State, 9 national championships in the last 11 years. He said you and him have talked about, you know what, you think we could get a game together with North Dakota State? I want our players. I want our fan base. I want people to see, you know, the elite level of FCS football. Is that something you're still kind of kicking around? Is that something you would like to do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, what an experience for my players, right, which is why I do this. And all winning and losing is what? All it is feedback. You know, if your ego is tied to winning and losing, you're not going to be in the profession very long. You know, and so ultimately, how far off are we? You know, and what could it look like someday? I don't care what anybody says. Like, if they could do it at Fargo, like, who wants to live in Fargo? We could do it in Cape. We could do it in this region, in this community. Like, we can have whatever we want to have. Or I shouldn't say that. In fact, you don't get what you want. You get what you're willing to do the hard work to help create. You can't want Fargo and not support us financially or come to games and stuff. Like, you're the problem. Like, you know, at the end of the day, what do we want to have here? And then what are we willing to do to get it? You know, and it takes tremendous alignment, but also I had to do my part. Like, at the end of the deal, I had to prove to the university and this region that we can bring great FCS football here. You know, but you're not sustaining it without all the other things, because like you see with Montana and everybody else, these are the people that we have to compete against for players on game days and all those type of things, and we got to work to create those kind of, you know, infrastructure that they have.
Well, you didn't have to be here today, and I know you've already talked about the litany of things that you've got going on in your assistant coaches, and it's recruiting season, and you're ready for the banquet. You're having exit interviews. You're talking to players and your coaches. So we appreciate you squeezing us in. You weren't scheduled to be here unless the Redhawks won, but you agreed to come and talk, and the fans absolutely love to hear from you. We appreciate all your time all season. Absolutely appreciate it. Congratulations on another great season. I know it's going to sting the players for a while, but they'll look back. It was a great season, and we appreciate it, Coach.
Yep,
Really do.
We appreciate your support and coverage.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
That is the Redhawks head football coach, Tom Matukowicz. Our thanks to Julie Yankas, volleyball coach and the director of athletics at Southeast Missouri State, Brady Barkey. Thanks also to Rachel Cook, Mike Rennick on location for all of their help for the Coaches Show. And Coach Korn will join us next week. Don't forget, the Redhawks play Milwaukee at 7 o'clock tonight, final game of the Cream City Classic, 7 p.m. tip-off, and we'll have it on Real Rock 99.3. We'll get you back to regular programming. Thanks so much for joining us here from Wings Etc., the Redhawks Coaches Show.